And a good day to you. Take two with Jerry and Debbie, starting right now on your radio, maybe on your phone, maybe on your computer. A lot of ways you can listen to the program. I am Jerry Usher, along with Debbie Georgiani and you. We've got the show team mostly in place today. Rich is out. Please pray for his little daughter, Rose Claire, a little illness or something she's going through today. Hope it's not serious. But I'm sure Ryan is on the phone. You'll be talking to him when you call in at 833-288-3986. And Debbie, good to see you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Jerry. I'm doing well. This is going to be a very good topic, and I think we're going to have a healthy, vibrant discussion thanks to our listeners who are going to call in right now. Here's the number, and we'll give you the topic. 1-833-288-EWTN. That's 833-288-3986. Why are you alive right now? That's what we're asking today. For such a time as this. Okay, you could have been born 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago, but you're here right now. And the good Lord has wanted you here right now. There's no accident to any of this. So we're talking about that today. And Jerry, you had me thinking about this all night long because I couldn't sleep. I was tossing and turning thinking, I don't know why I was born right now.
Actually, Debbie, for you, the problem was probably narrowing it down to something because you have many, many passions and purposes in life. And so I know that those of you listening, give this a little bit of thought. It may take a couple minutes, but do join us. Again, it's 833-288-3986. Again, as Debbie said, you could have been born 1,000 years ago. Maybe you wish you were. Maybe there was a period in time, you look back, it was just a lot more peaceful or romantic, or the world was a much better place. But God has you here right now, alive in 2019, and maybe you've been alive for a number of years, and maybe you're still fairly young. But we want to talk about this and maybe get into the heart of why each one of us believes that we are here at this time. So, and Debbie, this could be, maybe we were the instrument to lead somebody in our family or our lives to Christ, or maybe it was to be adopt a child and be their parent when nobody else would have been able to do that, or it could be just about anything. But I think each of us, if we give this a little bit of thought, we can come up with some pretty impactful things, I think.
Absolutely. So here's the number, 1-833-288-3986. Weigh in on this. We need your wisdom on this topic. Jerry, I actually did toss and turn because I'm a bit of a history buff. So I went back and I looked at just different periods in time. And actually, I'm glad with all the troubles we have today, I'm glad I'm born right now, because I was thinking about it. Like I wouldn't have wanted to be, in my adult years during the Great Depression, and then I kept going back, in the 1800s, 1700s, 1600s, and then I'm like, oh, no. Maybe during Jesus's time, but then look what would have happened. We probably would have been killed for the faith, right?
Well, yeah, the first reading of Mass this morning, St. Paul is writing, not writing, but he's speaking in the book of Acts about how he is on his way to Jerusalem, and he knows that great hardships and challenges and imprisonment await him there, and he knew these things. So, see, folks, St. Paul, if you'd given him a choice, he probably would have said, let me be born, in a few hundred years when Christianity is legalized in the world and there aren't all these hassles. But, God put St. Paul right there at that time, because he knew that St. Paul would accept God's grace and carry out his mission for his life and for the benefit of others. So what do you feel? It doesn't have to be profound or deep, but what do you feel is maybe the reason that God, in his wisdom, his infinite, eternal wisdom, said to you, you will be born and inserted into the human history and salvation history at this time? Right.
How about you, Jerry? Is there a certain period of time you think, well, I would have rather have been born then?
Well, there were times, like I said, when there was more peace or more harmony among people on the earth, and religious persecution wasn't as great. But I also looked at this time and why I think I'm born now, Debbie. And we talk a lot in this program about the things that we have experienced and endured, the challenges we've gone through, and the great things as well. And I look at some of the things that God has used me for, and I say, it's a beautiful thing that I've been alive at this time, even though there are challenges and things could be getting actually even a little bit worse as we go forward.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so we want to hear from you. Remember, you drive the show. This is your show. We learn from you. You are the teachers here, so please don't sit this out. Don't be entertained by anything that we share. We want you to weigh in. This is a heavy topic, right? We want to learn something. We want to grow. We want to get closer to God. That's what we want from this show. So help us out. 833-288-EWTN. Again, that's 1-833-288-3986.
Yeah, and I think we could all come up with at least one thing that we can say, you know what? This, I believe, is one of the things, if not the main thing, that God had me alive at this time in history for. And again, it could be because you helped to save somebody's life. Or maybe, I think about somebody, for example, Debbie, like a Steve Jobs or something. He was born at a time when technology had gone a certain distance down the road. And he, God used him in a sense, although, technology can be used for a lot of bad things. There's also the very good things it can be used for. And so he came along and God inserted him into human history at that time. And the list goes on and on. John Paul II, the fall of communism and all this stuff, and he was the perfect pope. You see, God's fingerprints are on so many of these things that only each one of us individually can do. Nobody else can carry out the mission that we are given by God.
Good point. Can't wait to hear what our listeners have to say about this. 833-288-3986. You just made me think about it, Jerry, and a light bulb went off in my little brain. And what I just thought of is, actually, I'm glad I'm born now I'm alive now because with the ministry work that I've always felt called to do, it's the perfect time because back, 100, 200, 300 years ago, you wouldn't see so many female lay leaders in the church as, religious education directors and stuff like that. So I think I'm glad I was born. Or I'm glad I'm living in this time because it allowed me to do the ministry work that I really feel God has called me to do.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. And maybe there are other ladies who are listening right now who feel that way, that, it's a perfect time for you to be used by God, to be elevated in a certain role of proclaiming the faith and spreading the faith and bringing people to Christ and the kingdom. 833-288-3986. I see a number of phone lines are taken right now, but Debbie, it looks like,
last one was just picked up.
I was going to say we had one more phone line left.
Somebody was quick. Yeah. Yeah,
it's not too late to get on the show, though. We're going to take our short pause here and then get to your phone calls with Elsie first, and then we got Gabby and Ryan and so many others. 833-288-EWTN or 3986. You can text the letters EWTN to 55000 with a comment. Might be a small data rate. You can comment on take2show.com. Email us, take2@EWTN.com. A lot of ways for you to weigh in on today's program. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you.
We know you like listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio, but have you thought about bringing them to your next event? No matter what type of event you're hosting, parish mission, conference, or retreat, trust Jerry and Debbie to make it come alive. Begin the process today of taking your presentation to the next level of success. For information on booking Jerry and Debbie, visit take2show.com, click on the J&D logo.
Father Benedict Rochelle.
Some great people have shown respect for God. Can I read you a little quotation from Albert Einstein, who many times showed a great respect for religion and was one of the great admirers of Pope Pius XII for his stand against the Holocaust during the Second World War. Einstein wrote, "The fairest thing we can experience is the mysterious. It's the fundamental emotion that stands at the cradle of all true art and science. A knowledge of the existence of something we can't penetrate, of the manifestations of the profoundest reason and the most radiant beauty, which are only accessible to our minds in the most elementary form. It is this knowledge and this emotion that constitute the truly religious attitude." Oh my, so beautifully said.
The people you know and trust are on EWTN.
For such a time as this, that's what we're talking about today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. So when a line becomes open, please jump quickly to the phone. Oh, come on. You don't have to jump to the phone. It's in your hand. Just dial 833-288-3986. That's the number to call, and you'll speak to Ryan Penny. He's just delightful to talk to. Just real quickly, want to let you know about 2 hours of Catholic Answers Live tonight, starting at 6 Eastern Time. Gotta love Catholic Answers Live. Great questions are asked, and then the apologists do a phenomenal job at explaining the faith in a way that we can all take that now and go forth, and we can do that as well. So Catholic Answers Sisters Live is a very necessary program for all of us. If you haven't been hooked on it yet, please do so. It's starting tonight at 6 Eastern Time. Okay, Jerry.
Well, that makes me think of, too, another thing, Debbie, and that is radio, media, television. These things didn't exist, a couple hundred years ago or 1,000 years ago. Jesus didn't even have the benefit of a radio show or a TV show. So that's one of the beautiful things that we enjoy, being born and living in this particular period of time. So there are so many things, and Elsie is going to let us know why she believes that she is on this earth and part of our beautiful Take Two family in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Hi, Elsie, listening on Redeemer Radio. Welcome.
Hi, so good to be on the program.
Thanks. Go right ahead.
Okay, so I was an unplanned child. My mom and dad were not married, and my mom found out she was pregnant, and she was from a pretty religious family, so it was kind of, it could have been kind of a scandal, and I've heard stories where other people just want to sweep that under the rug and maybe even have an abortion. So I'm really conscious of the fact that I'm lucky to even be here. But my parents didn't even consider that, luckily, and they got married. But I'm just really, really thankful for the fact that I'm even alive. And then I'm pretty young. I'm in my 20s. But I've already met, I'd say probably 5 or so people that I feel like I've had a really, really big impact on, and that I've been able to even help them come either back to the faith or just discover faith for the first time in some way. And I've had a lot of people tell me they're just so glad that they met me. And I never take that lightly, but it's just always such an honor to hear that.
Wow. Elsie, thank you for calling in, and what a beautiful story. And this sounds to me, as you share what you did, that this is something that you haven't just recently been reflecting on, but for a very, very long time. And you've really come to a good place of understanding this. But also, so that is giving you almost an intentionality, if that's a word, or sort of a consciousness of the people who have come into your life, crossed your path, that God has brought into your life, that, like you said, you have impacted. And if Elsie wasn't here, Debbie, maybe God would have had somebody else to impact those people in that way, but it was God's plan that Elsie be the one to do that. So, and we all can do that, really.
Yes.
We need to be conscious of that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So Elsie, you're quite young. Okay, we're old enough to be your parents, I just wanted to say, I bet you are a blessing to your parents. I bet your mom and dad say to you all the time, "Come on, Elsie, brag a little, be honest," because this is important for other people that maybe have walked into or are faced with an unplanned pregnancy, which I don't think anything is unplanned. I think everything is planned. Right. We have to celebrate every miracle. So Elsie, tell us, your parents brag about you, don't they?
Yeah, and actually, they tell me all the time that I ended up having a lot of siblings, and I'm the oldest, and they tell me that they're so glad I'm the first, and I'm kind of blazing the trail, because everything about my life has been really, really focused on God, and I think everyone is called to have that focus, but some people maybe more than others in as far as what they're doing day to day and everything, and that's just been how I've been all my life, and I just feel like that's really been a blessing to my family. I mean, I'm not bragging at all. I really feel that, and I'm really grateful that I got to start the family out that way.
Exactly, and let's just imagine this for a minute, okay? If you were not born, okay, and that would be just a tragic thing, because you're a miracle, and God knows every hair on your head, and He assigned you a guardian angel just for you, to journey with you all the days of your life. Okay, let's just say that. Who knows? You were the oldest of the family. That seat would have been empty. Right? And one of your siblings would have stepped up to it. It may not be turning out the way it's turning out. You are meant to be here. Yes. And the beauty of it is, it took everybody's cooperation. It took your mother's cooperation, right? And you are obviously very cognizant of the fact that it's a miracle that you're here, and you're grateful for that. Your dad as well, your family. So everybody had to be openness. You had to have that openness to life. And look what it brought forth. It brought forth a beautiful soul in yourself. I think it's precious.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't think it's unfair to say that God alone knows this, but if your parents had chosen to not have you or give you up for adoption or, God forbid, abort you or something, then their hearts might have been set against having kids at all after that. So the fact that they were courageous, they were willing to trust God in the situation, and look, many other souls were brought into the world, and hopefully, God willing, in eternity with God in heaven forever. So, wow, what a great story, Elsie.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, and I also want to add that I have a great devotion to Our Lady, and I just want to thank her for her prayers. I know that she's kind of been watching over me my whole life, and so, yeah, I just want to throw that out there, too.
Absolutely. And see, you stay close to Mary. You're holding her hand. Oh, boy, Elsie, you're in for a beautiful things ahead. And I'm just so happy for you. God bless you, sweetheart. Keep on keeping on. I love it. Thank you for gracing this. Yes, thank you for gracing this conversation today.
Have a blessed day, Elsie. 833-288-3986. For such a time as this, we're talking about why you think it is that God put you here on this earth at this time in world history and human history and salvation history. 833-288-3986. We're going to go to Louisville, Texas. Guadalupe radio listener by the name of Sarah. Please help me with your name. I apologize for that.
Hi. My name is
Sarah, that's a beautiful, unique name. Yeah. Thank you for calling.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hi. So, y'all are talking about the importance of technology, how sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. And when I was younger, it was a long time ago, I barely remember it, but it was the first time I had gotten Instagram, and a bunch of random people were following me. And this one girl, I did not even know who she was. She posted pictures of scars on herself and with wanting to harm herself. And usually I don't really associate with I don't know people who do that, etc. But so I was just being called to say something about it. So I commented and said, you shouldn't do this. It's, you have worth. I honestly don't really remember what I said. It was so long ago. But about a year or so later, I got a direct message from a boy. I was like, who is this? I have no idea who this is. And so I read it, and he said, hi, whatever his name is, I am this girl's boyfriend, and you, practically saved her life by commenting that because she read it and she was going to end her life, but when she read what you wrote, she decided not to, and I wouldn't be her boyfriend today if it weren't for you. So that was a long time ago, and that really affected me knowing that I had done that and that she got so much out of it.
Yeah, you had that impact. Sarah, let me ask you a question. You said you couldn't remember how old were you when this exchange happened?
Maybe 12, because I think that's when I first got Instagram.
Okay, so you are really open to the Spirit. I mean, has that always been a part of your life? I mean, are you really close to your faith? I mean, do you feel tied to God? Do you feel close to God?
Yes, ma'am, definitely, for sure.
Beautiful. How old? May I ask how old you are now?
Oh, I'm 17.
You're 17. Okay. So I just wanted to say you're a very special individual. Okay. I've been in religious education for many years. And when young folks such as yourself, when you were 12 and you're so open to the Spirit, that is a beautiful thing. That is a great gift. And I wanted just to say to you, keep that and cultivate that and grow that, because you will see God, and if you're open to God's will, you will see God take you to exactly where He wants you to go. Your ultimate purpose in life. And I think it's just really beautiful. I just wanted to say you're very, very special. I can't say it enough, because a lot of folks feel very closed off. We have all this technology, Sarah, and everybody feels like they're on the top of their game and on top of the world. But really, we're very disconnected. And what you did when you stepped out and helped another individual, there's blessings in that. that. So I just want to say thank you for being open to the Spirit, and I hope that continues in your life. What do you think?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will definitely try my best. God willing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, God has already used you for amazing things, Sarah, and there's no doubt that he's going to do that continuing going forward. Thank you very much for your phone call today to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie as we talk about why we're here. Why do you think you're here? Living alive at this time, 833-288-3986. Real quick email I wanted to, or actually a social media comment from our friend Timoteo, and he says, why do I think I'm here? Because God has plans for me. I came close to not typing this due to I nearly succumbed to double pneumonia when I was only 1.5 years old. So see there, Debbie, there's an example right there of God allowing that illness or whatever not to take his life and not to impact him to the point where he couldn't live and be fruitful. And so now our good friend Timoteo is in touch with us and grateful that he is alive, and so are we.
Absolutely, Tim. Absolutely. Another great soul. And Jerry, real quickly, may I just say this real quickly? I talk a lot about my uncle, the priest he's since gone to meet the Lord many years ago, but he was a fine priest, great priest, and he helped so many souls fall in love with the Blessed Mother and grow closer to God. And when he was born, a lot of people don't know this, obviously you wouldn't know this, you know it in my family, but when he was born, he was the oldest child, and he was a forceps baby, and they went in with forceps and grabbed him right on the head, similar to what happened to like Sylvester Stallone. Remember it severed his facial nerve and stuff. Well, they took my uncle when he was born with the forceps, and when he was born, the doctor basically threw him on the bed and said to my grandmother, "He's dead." And my grandmother said, "Oh, no. This baby, there's a reason." And my uncle, survived, and he became this great priest that shepherded so many souls. It was amazing. And when you think about that, it could have gone, it could have gone the other way, right? And everything would have changed. And so I think about that often. And you brought up Tim's story, and I just think, wow, we really have to celebrate life. We really do. From the moment of conception all the way to death, we really have to celebrate it because it is a miracle. Anyway, I had to say that.
No, beautiful story. And for him to become a priest and think of the thousands of lives that were touched because of that, and souls that may have been saved that otherwise might not have been. Okay, back to your phone calls on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie to San Antonio. Guadalupe radio listener by the name of Therese or Therese. Please let us know which is the pronunciation of your name, please.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
It's Therese.
Therese, okay. I'll bet I know who you're named for.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So tell us, why do you think you're alive at this time, Therese?
I truly believe it was for the sake of my family. I'm the eldest child of 4 living. My brother Brian predeceased me, and I often, wondered what my purpose was in life, because I was born to a very religious father and in a very religious family. And I've often thought I was so out of place in time because I never felt that I fit in. But I always stayed close to my father. I always stayed close to the church because I realized how much I need both. And I slowly came to learn that I wasn't here for my own desire to become a doctor or for my own desire to, be married and have children, even though I did get married and have children. But there's so many tragedies that happened in my family, and I was my father's backbone. I was my mother's helper, because when I was 7 years old and I was gathering up my younger siblings to go for dinner, I happened to look at my baby brother Brian, who was only a couple months old, and went to go give him a kiss, and I found him dead. And I had to tell my father. I knew my mother was going to freak, and I told my father, and the whole family changed at that moment. And I no longer became just a child. I became second mother to my siblings. my mother was never the same, unfortunately, after that. I became a helper for my father, and I just was the glue that held the family together because my mother was tender of heart, and it crushed her, the death of Brian, and she never recovered from that because also, before I was born, she lost her father. She's the oldest child of two, and her father loved her to pieces, but he died shoveling snow off the walkway.
Hold that thought right there, dear. We got this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing what you're sharing. You hear that music, we just have to pause for just a second. So, Therese, keep that thought right there in the front of your mind because we want to hear more on the other side. Take two with Jerry and Debbie.
Father Larry Richards.
God is the God of life. God is the God of love. So when we conform our life to His life and His will, it's always life-giving. Always.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
This is Life Issues with Brad Mattis, president of Life Issues Institute.
National Public Radio has a history of supporting abortion. They've issued a guidance reminder to staff explaining words they can and cannot use regarding abortion. It's not acceptable to say late-term abortion because it conveys the fetus is viable, which the baby often is. Instead of abortion clinics, they use medical or health clinics to disconnect abortion from them. They also soft-pedal what we call an abortionist, which, by the way, is the word several medical dictionaries use to describe those who do abortions. But that's a forbidden word at NPR, and never use the term unborn because it implies there's a baby inside a pregnant woman. Babies are not babies until they're born. And your tax dollars help fund this deadly nonsense.
Like us on Facebook at Life Issues and stay informed, more informed than you've ever been.
The wisdom of Mother Angelica.
What do you do on Sundays? You go to church? No, I golf. Ever make a hole in one? No. Well, why don't you pray a little bit? Pray? Yeah, pray. Oh, why I need to pray? I could give you 50 reasons.
For more information on Mother Angelica, visit Religious Catalog at EWTNRC.com.
I'm Gloria Purvis.
And I'm Deacon Harold. The Morning Glory team talks about wowing the senses with Mozart.
Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern. Now back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio. Thanks to the affiliates for carrying the program. Today's show team, Jeff and Ryan, we appreciate their help, and Rich when he's here. And we're talking today about why we are here at this time in history. We didn't choose to be here. It was in God's providential plan, which means God has a purpose for each one of us. And we're talking with Therese in San Antonio. Beautiful, beautiful story, unfortunately, about the loss of your son and you finding him at a couple of finding him a couple of months old. But go ahead, Therese, just continue and complete what you were wanting to say, and then we can chat about it a little bit.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. So my mother lost her father when she was in 10th grade. So she was the oldest child, so she never finished the rest of her studies. She helped her mother out. So the loss of her father and then the loss of her son was too much for her beautiful soul. And so I had to step into several different hats in my life at such a young age, and I don't mind it because I love my family and I love my God, and if that's what He wanted me to do, then that's my purpose and that's what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Therese,
I did.
Yeah, Therese,
Yes,
how old were you when you found your brother?
7.
I'm sorry. Did you say 10?
Old.
10 years old?
7. 7 years old, ma'am.
7 years old. Okay, so that's a lot to handle for a 7-year-old. Okay, that's overwhelming, actually. I just wanted to say you're a very strong individual, and God has obviously given you and equipped you for this mission. My prayer for you, because I can hear it in your soul, and I'm wondering, Jerry, if you're picking up on this as well. Therese, you're very much of a giver, very much. I pray that you're receiving as well. I pray that you are receiving as well. And what I mean by that, you have to be able to, you can give tremendously like you do, like you have been giving to your family and being that hero and the one that's stepping in and helping everybody cope and get through everything. But I pray that you are receiving love and attention and care as well. Are you, Therese?
From God I am, but from my family, no, ma'am.
Okay. Well, here's the great news. You're right. From God, you'll always receive that. And you do have your guardian angel around you. And as a matter of fact, a lot of people may not realize this, but sometimes when God has a certain mission for an individual, he may assign more than one angel. Okay. So you may have a few angels around you helping you with your mission. So I hope you tap into that as well, because you do have the heavenly realm that is helping you with this. But I want you to be able to receive as well, because it's only going to make you, how can I say this, an even better giver, if you will, because you'll be able to receive it. And I'm going to pray that for you, Therese, because you're a beautiful soul and you have been given a lot at a very early age to deal with. And I just pray that you see some of the beautiful benefits of what you have done here on earth, as well as in eternity. What do you think, Jerry?
I think it's beautiful what you said, and I was actually getting that sense too, Therese. I was going to say, it sounds like you're somebody who really derives your strength, your passion, your inspiration, your motivation from God, and I'm sure you've got that beautiful, strong, deep relationship with Him. Just in a nutshell, what is that relationship like between you and God, knowing that, as you said yourself, you don't really get that from your family, so you have to really rely on the God who created you and has you alive at this time in history. So how do you sense that strength and that power and that inner strength coming from God to you?
The best way I could describe it is that if it wasn't for His grace and His mercy, I would fall apart and cease to be. I believe that what had happened to me in my early life, it did affect me, but I'm the strongest of my family, and it adversely affected my younger siblings. So I just pray every day for them. I'm in a lot of pain because of nerve damage and things that happened to me in the military, but I use that redemptive powers of that suffering to pray for their souls for healing, so that one day, with all hope and mercy from God, that they will be healed and then they will be able to love and give love back. So that's what I hope and pray.
Wow. You've got a real a real depth of wisdom and insights, Therese, and it's certainly, I would guess, born of the things you've experienced. But Debbie, I think it's just a great example of selflessness, and I like you said, Debbie, she's got to plug in and get refreshed herself. But what a giving vessel that God is using Therese to be.
Oh yeah, Therese, you're a beautiful soul. God bless you, and I just pray God showers you with abundant blessings here on earth, and then for all of eternity. You have a beautiful name, strong name, so you know that, and I'm sure that the angels and saints are just beaming at the openness to the Spirit that you display. So I just want to thank you for also gracing this conversation as well. Thank you, Therese. Jerry, real quickly, we're getting a lot of comments coming in that folks want to adopt Elsie and Sarah as their daughters, as their young daughters. They said they want to have them as daughters. I think we all agree on that, because it's beautiful to see the next generation coming up on fire for the Lord.
Absolutely. Well, Joyce the trucker, our good friend Joyce, who drives a truck a long haul, I presume, over the road, she said, I suspect that I am here now to be spiritual, quote, support staff, end quote, for the heroes that he is raising up and will raise up as our culture spirals into a very tumultuous time. I think most of us are our support. So Joyce, the trucker, Debbie, sees herself as being just kind of almost a spiritual maternity for those that God is raising up today.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Okay. And safe travel. And Joyce, thank you for those comments. Donna in Dallas, Texas on Guadalupe Radio Network. Donna's been waiting patiently. Welcome to Take Two.
Hi. Thank you. It's really funny. I'm a bit older than your other callers. I'm 52, going to be 53. And I've often wondered, looking back on my life, which has had some serious low points, what it was all for and why I was here. And it's really funny because I've, just as a matter of being a single parent and trying to figure out how to raise my children, I wound up getting into software engineering, and that was just purely a pragmatic decision. I have children to feed, so, what can I make that, is a decent income? So I became a software engineer. I had also become a life coach, focusing on mind, body, soul balance, life balance, that kind of thing. And as things progressed, I found that in life coaching, in this arena of coaches, there's a lot of really weird New Age spirituality going on between law of attraction and tarot cards and astrology and basically you name it. That led me to deciding to create a site for Christian coaches or Christian clients, and I decided to call it Coaches in Christ. And this is a real recent development. In fact, I'm still developing the website. And it's just a matter of I can develop the website because, hello, I'm a software engineer. So it's like everything kind of plays into everything else and nothing is wasted, and that's a really funny thing with God is that nothing is wasted. My parents put me through, all Catholic school. I have years of theology behind me, and which helps me express myself and which enables me to put a book together called, that I'm about to release called Personality and Personhood. It's a scriptural guide to both, and it's just the Catholic view. It's a very Catholic view of, how we see ourselves as people and, how we can keep living in the way and that God intends us to live. So, like I say, I mean, it's really interesting how God, nothing is wasted. None of our past experiences and all these weird little things that God leads us through along our lives.
Mm-hmm. Donna, I'm so glad you brought that up. I actually as you were talking, I actually wrote that down and then I underlined it. I said, nothing is wasted. And it's so true. When you look back on your life and you do an inventory and an examination, you can realize that the things that you went through, even the most difficult things, can turn out to be something that you can help others with. I love the fact that you are developing Christian life coaching. I don't know if you've listened to the show on a regular basis. Jerry and I do a lot of Catholic life skills, Christian life skills, and we agree with you. There's a, in the secular life skill coaching arena, there's a lot of New Age principles, and it's very unfortunate because what they have done is kind of distorted them from what we know as biblical principles. They've distorted them, right? And so I love the fact that you are developing that with the absence of all that New Age stuff that really can get people off the path. So that's a beautiful thing in life and in life coaching and just in case folks don't really understand it, people can arrive at their own well-formed conclusion by just processing through, by having somebody else to talk to, by understanding this and actually going through your whole entire life and doing a kind of a movie rewind, if you will, of all the pivotal moments and critical moments of your life. So it's a very important, I think, exercise, and it's a healthy exercise for all of us to do. It's kind of like an examination of conscience. We should be doing these things along the way to help us grow in faith. What do you think, Donna? Did I capture that okay? Because I do have a bit of life coaching myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And, some people will look at me and what I've achieved in my life, and they go, wow, you're so amazing. And it's like, no. I am not that amazing. The only difference between me and anybody else is the questions that I've asked myself along the way.
Yep.
And that's the only thing that it comes down to is what are those questions that we ask ourselves? And honestly, that's the best thing about a life coach is that, it's just I kind of put forth some of those questions that I had to ask myself along the way. And,
Right.
And then people come up with their own answers and discover where God's drawing them to, and it's just kind of looking at things from a slightly different angle. We can miss the forest for the trees. But yeah, it's really cool, and we all have a purpose, and that's the best part is we really all do have a purpose, whether we realize it or not. And we may not see where we're at yet. Sometimes we see it in hindsight. Sometimes we figure it out after we've gotten there.
I think it was Mark Twain who said the two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. And everyone has a why as to why we're here. And unfortunately, so many people go through this life sort of aimlessly and not really grabbing on to what they believe it is that God has created them for. And Donna, you have done that so beautifully, and in many ways, your story reminds me of mine. I was born with club feet, and so I grew up always wanted to go to Notre Dame and be a basketball player, and I couldn't do that because I was too slow and I couldn't jump very high. I went to broadcasting school, and out of the 35 of us in broadcasting school, I'm probably the only one who ever stayed in the business. In other words, it's very unlikely. A lot of people go through that, but they don't end up in that as their career. And in middle of my broadcasting career, I took 6 years out to be in formation for the priesthood. So I got the philosophy and the theology. So I see a lot of crooked curves in my past, but God has made a straight line out of them, Debbie, and I'm sure so many of us could tell similar stories.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you shared that. That just affirms what Donna is saying. Donna, thank you so much for sharing your story today, and God bless you in the ministry work that you're doing and the book release and everything, and keep us posted on that. We'd love to journey with you at take2@EWTN.com, if you will. God bless you, Donna. Thank you for the call.
I want to mention before we take another call, the EWTN app is another way that you can listen to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and Call to Communion and Open Line and Catholic Connection and Catholic Answers Live and all of your favorite EWTN radio shows, but also television, and you've got news and so many sources. Get the EWTN app on your phone. Anytime that you click on there, there's good, relevant, meaty stuff that you can, sink your spiritual teeth into, and grow in holiness and in your Catholic faith. And you'll find the EWTN app on the website at EWTN.com.
Okay, so this comes from my mom, so I'm not bragging, okay, Jerry? My mom had 5 kids in 6.5 years, and then she got her figure back, lost all the baby weight, was back playing golf, having a good old life, raising all these 5 kids, and wouldn't you know it, here comes Debbie, and she was pregnant with me 6.5 years later, and I used to consider myself an oops baby, but then I found out I was a bonus baby, which I like better, because you know how I like to be more positive. And so my mother would go around town and everybody would say, Connie, aren't you miserable? Aren't you upset? You had it all together and your family's doing well. All the 5 kids are doing well, and now you're pregnant again. And my mother used to say this the whole entire 9 months. She said, this baby's coming for a reason. This baby's coming for a reason. And my mother has said that. And as you all know, I'm the primary person in my family that cares for my mom. I helped care for my dad. And my mother says it every day, every time I see her. She always says, I knew you came for a reason. So there's always a reason that we are born. I agree with that. And so we want to hear from you. What's the reason you're born in this time, this place, right now, this moment in time? We want to hear your story. 833-288-3986.
Okay, we're going to go to Tina in beautiful Denver, Colorado, listening on Catholic Radio Network. Welcome to Take Two. Tina, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Better now that you called.
Oh, good. That's so sweet. Well, I wanted to share about my pregnancy with my twins. It's a boy and a girl, and their names are Dean and Abby. But when I was pregnant, it was found that my son's heart was beating outside of his body, which is called ectopia cordis, which has a very low survival rate. And what they wanted to do was reduce the pregnancy. That's in quotes. to save my daughter's life. They said that his condition would threaten her life, and so that we needed to reduce the pregnancy, as they put it. And all week long, I prayed, and they wanted me to bring my husband back the next week so that he could be there for the procedure and they could explain it. And just praying all week long and envisioning that my two babies were in front of me and whether or not I would make that choice if they were right in front of me, and I wouldn't have. I would have left it in God's hands, which is what my decision was for this situation. So when we came back the next week, the doctor was explaining the procedure, and I said, I don't know what we're talking about. I don't know why we're talking about this. I think he's fine. And he sort of looked at me like, oh, poor Pollyanna mom, and we'll just humor her. We'll go in there. He writes fetal heart monitoring textbooks for medical schools, and he's a perinatologist, which is a high-risk pregnancy doctor. It was a 3D ultrasound. It was definite what everybody saw. So we went back in there, and he was doing the ultrasound, and he said, he's fine. He's just fine. And he said, this is my birthday today, and I didn't want to do this on my birthday. And it's the best birthday present I could get. And I just sat there and said, God was knitting him together. And then he just kind of went off and did something else. And everybody peeked in there and didn't mind their own business. And he said, I'm not done yet. So, and I want to say also that my son, and he's just fine. He was born just fine, and both of them are just fine and wonderful. And my son has the biggest heart, and I tell people that even in utero, he was trying to wear his heart on his sleeve.
Wow, Tina. So let me ask you this for our listeners that are hearing your story right now, which they're probably tears are rolling down their cheeks right now because that you were in a very difficult position. Is it safe to say, Tina, you gave it all to God. You trusted God. Is it safe to say that?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And look, your precious boy is born with just a beautiful, big heart. And I just think, it doesn't, and here's the thing. It doesn't always turn out that way for others. There's others that dive in 100% and trust God, and it doesn't turn out the way they wanted it to. But there's a reason that these things are allowed to happen. And it's sometimes it's for our growth or for others or for people seeing our story or hearing our story. And I just want to say, Tina, I pray that your son, I have a weird feeling about this. Does your son have a vocational call? Is there something strong with your son when it comes to the faith?
Well, that gave me like a little chill when you said that. He's got a very strong love for the faith. And a friend of ours, an older woman, came to me when he was a baby. She was helping watch him. And she said she'd had a dream the night before that he was going to be a pastor. Mm. And it was very real to her. And so ever since he's been a baby, I've been waiting for him to. I would not be surprised at all if he would go into the priesthood.
Yeah, yeah. Well, okay,
and I just became Catholic 2 years ago, actually.
Oh, wow. See, look at that, Tina.
Yeah.
If he becomes a priest, you get like a free ticket to heaven.
Oh, awesome.
Well, they say there's always that story that the mother can go straight to heaven, but it's just it's a beautiful. I don't know if it's true or not, but if it is, it sounds good. Okay, but Tina, here's the thing: keep an eye on your son. How old is he right now?
He's 12.
Okay. Make sure he has a relationship with his guardian angel, because remember, the guardian angels will illuminate his intellect and strengthen his will, and that'll keep him in the disposition to be open to a vocational call. So I'm sure you're doing that. So make sure that he's establishing his relationship, that he knows of his guardian angel. He's aware that his guardian angel is with him. This is a big thing. I felt it so strongly as you were speaking that this child is made, and it's funny you said that, because I actually, when I had closed my eyes for a second and I thought, I could picture him. I don't even know his face or anything. I could picture him leading other people. So it's very interesting that lady said it to him being a pastor. Wow, Tina. You're going to have to keep in touch with us. Take2@EWTN.com. We'd like to be there at his ordination if it happens.
Wow.
Great. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we'll certainly pray for you and all of them, Tina. Thank you so much. What a great, great story. And we really appreciate you listening there in Denver and calling Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. Have a blessed day. Mm-hmm. We're in the home stretch. Home. Yeah, welcome home a couple years ago. God has got amazing plans in her conversion, and hopefully one way or the other, whether it's priesthood or what have you for the children. So thank you, Tina. We got our good friend Ron in Los Angeles, who listens on the EWTN.com website, is up next on Take Two. Hello, Ron. Now we're going to get to Ron. There we go. Now we got him.
Good morning, and cock-a-doodle-doo to you, too.
How you doing?
Hey, Ron.
I don't know if it's my message or something else, but today I've had the spiritual warfare. I've had the system hung up on me about 6 times to try to get through. So whatever it is, my key thought about all this is that if I try to look at what I am or why I'm here at the very moment I'm asking the question, I don't see it. But if I start looking back in my own history, the events, the people I've influenced, the people who've influenced me, and what I've been prepared for to do what I'm doing today, that's the only way I get to see exactly why I'm here. And in my case, in recent years, I've got parents that I've been taking care of. My mother I buried almost a year ago next month. That's just the ability to deliver mercy when mercy is needed, and sometimes even that mercy for myself. When the chaos is ensuing, I just have my difficulties. Many know that I've called in before. I've got a cardiac condition that drives me crazy, and I have some really rough days. Today's not too bad, but it's been out there. But just the overall issue is that I was born into a time where, like you talked about Steve Jobs or others, that my sense in technology and how things are supposed to work on the physical plane is pretty high, and it allows me to do the kind of work that I do from home. But at the same time, I've been given a lot of insight in how to work with people, understand what somebody's going through, and be someone who's been there for a shoulder and some wisdom, whether I thought I was prepared for it or not, and things that the Holy Spirit prompted me to say to someone at the time that I have no clue where it came from except from there. So there's a lot that's been there without going into too many specifics, and it's been both quite the rush and the ride and the confusion and a lot of times just overwhelming too.
Well, Ron, yeah, we know that you've endured a lot, and you are in our daily prayers, and we know that you are a prayer warrior, so we are very grateful for your prayers. And you raised a great point. I mean, obviously, it's a very common sense thing. We look back at our lives, and it can tell us a lot about what our purpose is, but it can also help to orient us toward our future, I believe, as well. Obviously, if we've made mistakes, we can correct them. If we've done good for others by the grace of God, we can see those opportunities as they come in the future. So I think you made a lot of good points there, Ron. We do hope that your cardiac issues will settle down or stay settled down. So you said you're having a little bit of a better day today. So we hope that continues, brother. And thanks for calling. We appreciate you joining us on the program.
Yeah, we'll be thinking of you, Ron, in July during your mom's 1-year anniversary of her passing. I know that's got to be really hard, and so we're with you. So thank you so much for just sharing your story today. And it helps when people are going through things, Jerry. We can learn from each other, and that's important. We don't have to learn this as we go. We can learn from each other, and that's what the body of Christ does. And we're together in this. And I think that Ron sharing his story helps all of us.
Yeah. Great conversation today, as always. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and you. We just add you into the title of the program because you're the ones who make it happen each and every day. Thanks again to Jeff and Ryan and the affiliates who carry the program. Debbie, tomorrow we are going to talk about, do you see yourself in your pet? Do you have a dog or a cat or another pet that exhibits traits kind of like you, or just you sort of look to have maybe the same wounds or the same attributes, the same joy, the same peppiness? We're going to talk about that tomorrow.
Oh, you don't mean like we actually look like our pets, right?
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Okay, until tomorrow, folks, we just want to wish you a beautiful and blessed day. We'll see you real soon.